I have another legend here on the Playbook, Steve Barnard, President and CEO of Mission Produce. Welcome to the Playbook, Steve.
Thanks, David. Pleasure to be here.
It's so much fun doing this because I get to see industries that don't look like they're very much fun. I'm looking and doing research about Mission Produce, and I'm like, gosh, the agriculture business, this must not really be very exciting compared to, all these great technologies out there. And yet, the heart of agriculture is very close to the Silicon Valley. A lot of it is, throughout the corridor there. How do you make produce fun?
Well, that's a great question. We're fortunate to be in a very healthy and versatile part of the produce industry, the avocado. That's our main staple, our main product that we focus on. We're guacamole's always at a party, so I mean it kind of ties together with our number one core value, which is fun and hard work and pay attention and don't be afraid to lose. I mean, there's all kinds of little sayings I use, and I've been fortunate enough to have some great mentors, which we can talk about too, that taught me a lot of things on, don't be afraid to lose, take risks, play offense at all times. And
it's interesting because there are so many lessons that we learn throughout the years and people who help elevate us. But we don't start out as overnight successes. We have to choose an industry. We have no idea what we're doing at the beginning, which is where all these, what I call dummy tax lessons come from that I can't wait to hear. But you, for example, you started in a to basically in a farming town, Fillmore, and you somehow knew that you wanted to be in agriculture. But that's one thing. How did you go ahead and start initiating your career knowing that you wanted to be in a certain industry?
Well, that's a great question. As I said, I grew up in Fillmore. My dad was a citrus farmer there in Fillmore, and had a few avocados, not many. And I knew I wanted to be in ag because of the culture, being outside, the people. It's just a fun environment, a fun industry. And I went away, got into Cal Poly. And then every summer, for a summer job, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I got out. My dad told me that the farm wasn't big enough for both of us and don't even think about coming back here, which is great advice. And luckily it turned out okay. And every summer I'd done something different. I worked for a tomato cannery harvesting crew one summer. I worked for Sunkist one summer. I worked for my dad one summer. And where was the other one? I don't know. There was 4 of them.
And
it wasn't very memorable. And anyway, I didn't want to do any of those when I got out of school. So the one thing I hadn't done was fresh produce. There was a company here in Oxnard that was very aggressive, well-financed, owned by three families. And anyway, I forced my way in for an interview. I got an interview with the president and told him what I'd done and that I hadn't done fresh produce. I would like to try it. He said, well, that's great, but we're not hiring. I said, well, yes, you are. Your season starts in 2 weeks. I don't care what you pay me, and I don't care what I do. I just want to get in. I said, well, hell, you should have said that earlier. I wouldn't have bought you lunch. So I started out, they said, show up Monday morning and go home when the work's done. So I got there, I was 22 years old, and started loading trucks. And it was lettuce and celery that, they're 60, 70 pound boxes, but I was 22 years old. So I was bulletproof back then. And did that for about 3 weeks. And then they moved me up to a foreman, and then gradually accelerated and moved over and took over the strawberry cooler. But what they did, I mean, I was putting in 120 hours a week, and my gross pay, not net, was $120.
Oh my God.
It was a test. I knew that. But I said, I'm going to outlast you. It doesn't really matter what you pay me. I told you I didn't care what you paid me. I just want to get the experience. So fast forward, I ended up taking over all of their harvesting crews at age 24, 400 employees under me in 3 districts and equipment and everything moving all over the place. And I was one of the few guys that spoke English, so I had to learn Spanish real quick, which I've since forgotten. But did that for a little over 7 years between Santa Maria, Lompoc, and Oxnard, moving with the seasons. And El Centro there for a while too. And in 1977, this company had a building here in Oxnard that was empty, and they bought an avocado line and hired this guy out of retirement to recruit growers. Well, my family's been from Ventura County since 1857. So we kind of know a lot of the people, like I was talking about Orange County, the old names there. So I was helping this guy with referrals when I was in town. And this went on for 3 years, I think, 3 or 4 years. And then late 81, this guy re-retired. He was at 80 years old, I think, at the time. And they asked me if I would come over and run that operation. Well, in 1980, I got married. I was gone 9 months out of the year on this job I had, maybe passing through on a weekend. And I said, yeah, I'd like to do something different anyway. So I took that department over for a year. It was very small. The only competition at the time was Calavo, which was a co-op. It was all California only, and they had different varieties to fill in the calendar. And so I did it for a year. And at the end of the year, I thought, there is a huge opportunity here, but they're kind of they got into this for the wrong reason. They got in it to fill that building up and spread out their overhead. No, it's a lot bigger than that. So I went to them with a business plan. Now, keep in mind, I'm 29 at the time and have no money. I mean, zero. Just bought a little condo and my payments were $250 a month, and that scared me. So anyway, I went to these 3 owners and gave them this proposal, and they said, no, we're not interested in that. And I said, well, I'm serious. And they said, so are we. And I went, oh, now what? So me and another guy put a business plan together. We hired an unemployed CPA for $10 an hour to put this business plan together for us. We went out and talked to growers. And at the time, there was more supply than there really was a market, and they were concerned about not having a home for their fruit. So now this is vertical integration to them. It was a great step. And we put this business plan together. We rented a facility down the street here, and it was a shoestring, rented trailers, furniture from the garage sale, the whole deal. And anyway, we raised $900,000 in the spring of '83. And I left there and started Mission, and it was all California back then. And then, I don't know, we can get into the whole history of the thing on how we got to where we are today, but it's one thing led to another, and you take advantage. You make a lot of mistakes, but you better learn from your mistakes and regroup and go. Don't quit, don't give up, just keep your head up. It's like playing basketball. Know where everything is and where's your weak spots, where are your strong points, leverage it.
One of the mindsets that is difficult for entrepreneurs to understand is the mindset of how long things take and what they're willing to do to invest in themselves. I don't like the word sacrifice. A lot of people could listen to your journey so far and say, yeah, but he sacrificed so much. He, went into a job that wasn't going to pay him. And then he did this for so many years till he was 29 years old. You could barely afford a $250 a month condo. And then he went and he had no money and he left his, and what sacrifice? I'm not willing to sacrifice, or, what type of mindset through your 20s did you have? Because, I don't know if people realize, but you created the ripe revolution. You have the largest network of avocados in the world, not just America. Yeah. I mean, it is a significant business that you've created, but it didn't happen overnight. And you had to have a mindset of faith. And I was wondering where that faith, or what you were thinking in your 20s when you were carrying boxes and doing all the things that nobody else is willing to do.
Well, you got to believe in yourself for starters, and you have to have a vision and just determination. I'm going to get into the end zone. It might take me a different play or two, or, we may get sacked back here once or twice, but, I'm not afraid to lose. I was taught that by a guy named Jack Simplot, who was a big Idaho billionaire that we partnered with back in the 90s on a frozen guacamole business. And he started, he's an interesting story. He quit school in the 8th grade, no money. When he died at 99 and a half, working at his office on a Sunday of a 3-day weekend, he was worth $4 billion and the 3rd largest landowner in the United States. And I asked him one time, I said, what advice can you give me? You've seen what we're doing here. He said, well, most people are afraid to lose. He says, if you have a good idea and you try it and it doesn't work, most people quit after the first knockdown. He says, I don't care if it takes you 4 times to get back up off the floor. You might have to make some adjustments. Maybe your timing's wrong. Maybe you need to tweak it a little bit, but the champions are the ones that keep getting up and they don't quit. And they go, and they're just not afraid to lose. You know, you get knocked down, your teeth are all gone. Well, go get some new teeth and get back up. It's just a mindset. We're not going to lose. Now we maybe lose an inning or a game or something, but we're not going to lose a series. And you have to have that mentality.
And through that mentality, there becomes a belief or an energy that you carry that allows you to convince people. I'm, doing research on you always before these podcasts. By the way, I think you have the first ever avocado podcast that you launched. Talk about niche. I use Dr. Pimple Popper as how we have to be niche and know our frequency and our expertise. I'd much rather listen to the avocado podcast than the pimple popping podcast. But nonetheless, you have a great capability of convincing people. What do you think the characteristics that you have of being so persuasive? Because you've convinced, Dole and Kroger, and I'm looking down the list of some significant figures in history, entrepreneurial history, that you've been able to convince, and like you were able to convince.
Simplot's another one, yeah.
Yeah. So what are some of the secrets of convincing people to believe in your vision and believe in you as much as you do yourself?
Well, I'm all in. There's no question. We have a theme here, all in. And
you gave that to the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? Even though they ended up beating your Golden State Warriors with that motto.
Yeah.
They were all in.
We're all in. But we just have a passion for it. We love it. This is a game to us, and we love winning the game, and it's a healthy game. It's good for consumers. It's good for retailers. It's good for growers. It's a fun business to be in, and it's continuing to grow. I don't know. I mean, people say, my wife says, why are you going to work on a Sunday? I said, well, I'm not going to work. She said, well, you're going to the office in the packing house, aren't you? I said, well, that's not work. That's fun. So, I mean, it's just.
With the activity you get paid for, activity you don't get paid for. That's what I tell my wife. It all reconciles together. What about competition? You built an industry, and then obviously a lot of people with a lot more money than you had tried to compete with you. What are some of your philosophies on competition?
Well, first of all, you got to analyze them and what's their strengths, what's their weaknesses, what do they have that we need? Most of the avocado category is a lot of smaller guys. Yes, there's Del Monte in it, and there's Calavo in it, and there's a couple others that are sizable. We are probably the biggest, though, that is entirely focused on the avocado category. Del Monte and Calavo have different products. They get distracted a little bit. People, I can be very fun and happy and carefree, and I can be intense as you've ever seen too. If something goes wrong or right. I work hard, I play hard. Like I said, I can be a lot of fun, and I can be on you like a coat of wet paint if something's messed up because you're not paying attention. So
I'm a ferocious Buddha, so I totally understand. And people, as they get to know me, they're like, whoa, what happened to the Buddha side of you? You're the Zen David Meltzer. Where'd that go? Because it gets pretty intense. Last thing real quick, you've had an extraordinary life and journey with great ups and downs. And most importantly, what I love about looking at your journey, you have an incredible mindset. You have an incredible heart set. You know that fun, that feeling. And you are a student. You didn't just walk into your first job. You went and got educated in the industry, and you became a student of your industry while you were schlepping boxes, and first one in, last one to leave with no pay for almost a decade. Through all of those lessons, though, you're one of those people that I've read. You have so many great life mottos. So I was hoping to finish up, if you could share one or two of your favorite life mottos, things that keep you going, or you would tell your grandkids as your legacy mottos that they should follow.
Well, work hard, play hard, love what you do, have a passion for it. I mean, not just a little, a lot, and be the champion of what you do.
I love that.
You know, Mission is, I call it my party, but I've got a great team here. I don't know, we've got, I don't know, worldwide 4,000 employees or something. So I mean, it's a team effort, and I like talking to, I don't obviously talk to all of them, but I talk to all the leaders around the world, and I try to be personal about it and spend time with them and tell them what we're doing, what I'm thinking, and they look at me like, we're doing that. I said, no, we already did it. Now let's get going. You know, so I don't know. This COVID thing's kind of slowed me down. I feel like I'm in jail a little bit, but that's loosening up. I was just booking a flight this week for about 2 months from now into South America. So we got a big operation there, but no, I wake up wanting to go to work. I don't even call it work.
You're with me, and you are definitely the name of your company, Mission Produce, Mission Avocados. You are on a mission. It's more than a job. It's more than work. It's more than even activity you get paid for. You know, it's your purpose and it's your thoughts about purpose that are so impressive to me, and so hopefully to so many other entrepreneurs as well. We certainly appreciate your time and your lessons, and there's no doubt, you know, I always say, people ask me, you get to meet all these billionaires, millionaires, entrepreneurs, celebrities, athletes, entertainers, you know, what's that common denominator? And I will tell you, Steve, that you are the epitome of the common denominator of success, of someone that's passionate, purposeful, and profitable. You have a desire that you must be what you can be.
Committed.
You've had it since you were little and young, and I can tell it'll continue to last. You're one of those people, you'll never retire. I know that. So you and I will meet again. Thank you so much for the great lessons. Thank you for your playbook to success. Steve Barnard, President and CEO of Mission Produce, Mission Avocados. This is David Meltzer with Entrepreneurs, the Playbook.